Hello. I hope everyone is having a beautiful day. I'm Dr. Stefan. And today we're going to talk about something people ask me all the time, but that we need to frame carefully: how to support your pancreas at home. Notice I didn't say cleanse or detox, because the pancreas isn't a pipe we flush with a T. It's a remarkably delicate organ that helps digest food and manages blood sugar. And what it needs isn't a shortcut, needs habits that take pressure off. Before we go further, a quick reminder: this channel is educational. If you have severe abdominal pain that radiates to your back, if there's fever, repeated vomiting, yellowing of the skin or eyes, very dark urine, or pale stools, those are danger signs, and you should not try home remedies. You should seek urgent care. To set the scene, imagine the pancreas working on two fronts. On the one hand, it releases digestive enzymes that break down your meals. On the other, it regulates blood glucose with hormones like insulin. When we bombard it with alcohol, tobacco, oversized fatty meals, and when triglycerides run high or gallbladder problems block the outflow of enzymes, the pancreas suffers. The good news is that many of those triggers are changeable. Today, we'll translate that biology into simple, kind, sustainable actions so you, Don T, walk away with theory. You walk away with a plan you can start tomorrow. I want to begin with the most important boundary. There are situations where home approaches are not appropriate. The pain is intense, if there's fever, if you're vomiting over and over, your eyes look yellow, or you simply feel really unwell. This is not the time to cycle through teas, fasts, or juice blends. You can make things worse. When a clinician evaluates the pancreas, they check enzymes, look at liver function, use imaging to assess the gallbladder and liver, and, when necessary, order more advanced studies. I'm telling you this because today's conversation is not about improvising treatments. It's about supporting someone who is stable or recovering and wants to reorganize day-to-day life to lower risk going forward. If you're recovering, our aim is to reduce digestive workload. In practical terms, that means smaller portions spread across the day, fats chosen wisely and used modestly, and close attention to how each food makes you feel. There are no tricks here. There is patience, observation, and consistency. Now, let's talk about what truly eases the system. If your pancreas could speak, it would ask for a break from the usual irritants. That means stepping away from alcohol, not just only on weekends, but stepping away in a meaningful way. Because alcohol is one of the strongest drivers of pancreatic trouble, it also means letting go of cigarettes, and if you need help, ask for it. Quitting smoking is one of the best investments you can make in your health. It means not forcing your body with gigantic plates of food. Your pancreas prefers smaller portions it can process calmly. Fat isn't the enemy, but it needs to be chosen and measured. A little olive oil, a small avocado distributed through the week, a modest handful of nuts when it makes sense, no deep-fried foods, and no heavy sauces. Your plate should be simple and colorful. Picture half the space filled with vegetables, a quarter with protein that sits lightly, and a quarter with carbohydrates that bring fiber along for the ride. Add something your gut and pancreas tend to appreciate: small daily servings of fermented foods like plain yogurt or kefir. Drink water through the day. Sometimes your body is asking for hydration, and we interpret it as hunger or anxiety. Give yourself a 10 or 15-minute walk after meals. It's excellent for digestion and glucose. Sleep is medicine too. When you rest, many pieces of metabolism fall back into place. And if stress keeps you company, give yourself permission to pause, breathe, stretch, and step outside. These aren't extras. They're part of everyday care. Now I want us to imagine cooking together. Think of a breakfast that hugs your stomach: tender oatmeal with cinnamon and a small amount of fruit, or plain yogurt with a spoonful of oats and a few slices of a small piece of fruit. If you prefer savory, a slice of good whole grain toast with a bit of avocado, fresh tomato, and an egg cooked with minimal fat often sits very nicely. At midday, a piece of fish baked with lemon and a side of steamed vegetables can be a simple pleasure, or a stir-fry of tofu with broccoli, peppers, and mushrooms using just enough oil to shine without pooling. In the evening, a vegetable soup with red lentils, which are easier to digest for many people, or an egg white omelet with spinach and a warm side of roasted squash can feel soothing and complete. If you need something between meals, a small plain yogurt or a small piece of fruit can bridge the gap without overwhelming your system. When you sit down to plan, picture a week that respects your taste, your schedule, and your budget. It does not have to be perfect. It has to be possible and repeatable. Prep the fish for Tuesday. Wash Wednesday's vegetables. Cook a pot of brown rice that can serve 2 meals, and keep a jar of soup ready to heat in 5 minutes. The goal is to reduce the load your body carries and the load you carry when decision fatigue hits. The easier you make it for yourself, the more likely you are to choose well when you're tired. Now I want us to imagine cooking together. Think of a breakfast that hugs your stomach, tender oatmeal with cinnamon and a small amount of fruit, or plain yogurt with a spoonful of oats and a few slices of a small piece of fruit. If you prefer savory, a slice of good whole grain toast with a bit of avocado, fresh tomato, and an egg cooked with minimal fat often sits very nicely. At midday, a piece of fish baked with lemon and a side of steamed vegetables can be a simple pleasure, or a stir-fry of tofu with broccoli, peppers, and mushrooms using just enough oil to shine without pooling. In the evening, a vegetable soup with red lentils, which are easier to digest for many people, or an egg white omelet with spinach and a warm side of roasted squash can feel soothing and complete. If you need something between meals, a small plain yogurt or a small piece of fruit can bridge the gap without overwhelming your system. When you sit down to plan, picture a week that respects your taste, your schedule, and your budget. It does not have to be perfect. It has to be possible and repeatable. Prep the fish for Tuesday. Wash Wednesday's vegetables. Cook a pot of brown rice that can serve 2 meals and keep a jar of soup ready to heat in 5 minutes. The goal is to reduce the load your body carries and the load you carry when decision fatigue hits. The easier you make it for yourself, the more likely you are to choose well when you're tired. I know many of you have other clinical labels that change the map. If your triglycerides run high, moving away from added sugars and refined flours helps. Stepping away from alcohol helps, and choosing oven-baked or grilled fish several times a week helps. If you're living with fatty liver, the good news is that slow, steady weight reduction, 5 to 7% of body weight ready, makes a difference. You don't need a sprint, you need continuity. When the gallbladder is part of the story, it asks for carefully measured fats and modest portions. If the right-sided pain after meal shows up, check in with your clinician. Don't push fats, even if they're healthy. And if glucose is your main concern, the same basics apply: fiber, orderly portions, and that short walk after eating. If you're curious about infusions that touch glucose control, talk to your clinician and monitor, because surprises are exactly what we want to avoid. People also ask about supplements. Turmeric used in cooking can help nudge low-grade inflammation. It isn't mandatory and it isn't magical. Concentrated capsules demand more caution, especially if you rely on blood thinners or have a history of gallbladder problems. As for omega-3, I prefer you find it on your plate first. Any decision about pills should be made with your care team. And pancreatic enzymes aren't a just-in-case item. They're prescribed when there's a clear indication of exocrine insufficiency. I want to offer you something concrete so that by the end of a month, you can look back and say, yes, something actually changed. In the first week, put the foundation in order. If alcohol is present, step away from it. If smoking is part of your life, set a quit date and ask for help. Reduce meal size and space food more evenly through the day. Keep water within reach. And start a simple, low-fort log. How you felt on waking. How lunch sat with you. Whether you had bloating, how your energy held up, and, if it applies to you, how your blood sugar behaved. In the second week, keep all of that and add consistency with your cups. 1 or 2 a day, the ones that agree with you. Bring in a simple fermented food and go for a 15 to 20-minute walk after your main meal. Those 2 small choices, the ferment and the walk, seem minor. But across a month, they add weight. In the third week, fine-tune. Notice how much fat you tolerate comfortably. You feel weighed down? Decrease it a little. You feel good? Hold steady. Add a new recipe to keep things interesting. Fish with quinoa, a different soup, a stir-fry you enjoy. If triglycerides are your issue, push a little harder against sugars and white flours. In the fourth week, evaluate. Read your notes and ask yourself whether heaviness eased, whether your energy is steadier, whether you reach the evening with more comfort, whether you're sleeping more easily. If the answer is yes, keep going. If not, adjust with your clinician. Sometimes the body is asking for testing. Sometimes the plan needs a different schedule or the help of a dietitian to structure your day. Along the way, familiar questions pop up. People ask whether fasting cleanses the pancreas. It doesn't. We're not trying to clean anything. Fasting can be a metabolic tool in selected, supervised cases. But it's not something to improvise, especially if you have digestive symptoms or a tendency toward low blood sugar. Others ask about green juices. Juices are low in fiber, and if they're heavy on fruit, they spike sugar quickly. I'd rather see you eat complete, chewable meals with fiber and protein. People ask about coffee as well. If it sits well with you and doesn't trigger acidity, 1 or 2 cups can live alongside your plan. If it irritates you, reduce or trade it for something gentler. And water with lemon, I'm all for using it as a hydration reminder, not as a medicine. I want you to leave this video with a sense of order and calm. Tomorrow morning, think of a breakfast that's kind to your stomach. Through the day, aim for plates that aren't gigantic, that always feature vegetables, that use simple proteins, and that bring carbohydrates with fiber attached. You don't need to weigh anything. You do need to listen to how you feel. Drink water on purpose. Don't wait for intense thirst. Choose 1 or 2 cups that agree with you and make them a daily ritual. If alcohol has crept into your routine, give yourself a meaningful break from it. After your main meal, lace up your shoes, step outside, and walk for 10 or 20 minutes. And when night arrives, dim the lights a bit earlier. Put the screens away and prepare your sleep. Stay alert to the signs that tell you to stop. The pain is severe if you feel truly unwell. If the warning signs from the beginning show up again, don't stay home trying to fix it yourself. Call, check in, go to urgent care. And if after 4 weeks of steady habits you feel there wasn't much change, or if it's been very hard to sustain them, don't blame yourself. Sometimes the body is asking for tests. Sometimes the plan needs adjustments. That's what professionals are for. Caring for your pancreas isn't a 3-day sprint, it's a way of walking. Every timely glass of water, every orderly plate, every short walk. Every good night's sleep is a vote of confidence in your future health. We're not chasing perfection, we're repeating kindness. If this episode helped you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. I'm Dr. Stefan. Take care of yourself, eat colorfully, move gently, and rest well. I'll see you in the next video.